Hey guys, so let's talk about the Philippine stock market. Let's give you some perspective from a technical analysis point of view. So I want to go through a lot of maybe banking stocks and property stocks as well. But one thing I'd like to note also is Meralco. As you can see right here, it started to have like a counter trend upward. It was moving. Let me just plot it for you guys. It was moving right here. But as you can see also from last Friday's movement, it broke this upward trending line that started February 2023. It also broke below the 20 and 50-day moving average. What protected it was the 100-day moving average right here. However, as you can see, if you're going to be very strict by it, it's also below, and it's also trying to break down this 100-day moving average. So one thing to watch out for, at least for next week, is if it stays above the 100-day moving average, and then I'll try to plot this guys for you, you have your next support level at 320 peso level, and then your resistance is at 356. So um should there be any like movement, or at least should there be any pushes downward, it could possibly be under this narrative that it goes back, it goes down here, then you'd see it actually bounce from this perspective. If not, if it goes above the 100-day moving average, then this could be your new level of support. One thing to note though is that you have a cross down already here, signaling a change in direction for Meralco. Please do note also that it's giving out dividends that's higher than what it gave out last year. And thus, at this current price point, if you're a dividend investor somewhere around the 325 level, it would give you a higher dividend yield also, especially if you're trying to get as much APY as possible as well. So that's for Meralco. Another thing that I'd like to highlight is also Ayala Land. Um, if you notice Ayala Land, I plotted this support and resistance a couple of weeks ago. And I mentioned that there's a resistance at the 29 peso level. And there's also a downward trending slope right here. As you can see, intraday, it tried to hit it, but the resistance of the downward trending slope was relatively strong. So if Ali fails to break out this downward trending slope and fails to break out from this 29 peso resistance level, most likely this would be its progression. If it fails to break out, the possible narrative, and I'll zoom in for you guys as well, is right here. Fails to break out from that, possible retracement would be right here, close to the 200-day moving average, or close back here to the 27 peso resistance or support level. But if it goes above that, what's interesting is for the first time, we can finally actually say that it's going out of this downward trending slope, which started at the start of 2022. So we're now seeing it from this downward trending slope uh about 20 months already on a downtrend. It's nice to see if it would actually break out from it. There's still no cross. I want to show this to all of you. There's still no cross here. If you look at the MACD is still showing us that it's still consistently up. We just have our first red candle at the resistance. So I think next week would be very interesting to see if we break out of 29, because the retracement may be close to the 200-day moving average or the 27 peso price range. Or if not, we could possibly see it start to reverse and move upward as well. Another thing that I'd like to point out, and by the way, if you're watching me for the first time, I do a lot of this technical analysis videos, but please do note that this is not forecasting. This is just me analyzing it from price action, volume, and everything that can be factored in the charts. If this feels a bit hard while you're watching this and you still want to learn more, check out the links down below for the books that I've written. They're available via Shopee. I have 5 books in the stock market which I've written from 2013 to 2017. Those are all already bestsellers from bookstores way before we started having a lot of these online platforms where you could start ordering. So national bookstore bestsellers, but you can get it via Shopee, or we have webinars down below where you could learn on demand on how you could buy, sell, trade stocks using technical analysis. And if you're trading crypto also, what's interesting about that is you could also interlace this and use all of this knowledge in crypto, forex, and everything that has price action, everything that has human behavior and emotion as well. So you could push that also in the way you would analyze your trading and investing as a whole. So there, everything's down below, and since it's on demand, what's interesting about that and what's nice about that is you could pause the video, you could rewind the video, you could take down notes and stop, and you can really digest the information. If not, we also have hundreds of videos on technical analysis here in this channel, all aimed to give you as much value as possible. Next stock that I'd like to look at is BDO. If you look at BDO right here, there's been a bit of selling already that has happened. It's having a hard time break the 150 mark. So we'll try to put a resistance here so it's clear for everyone. Current resistance now for BDO is 150. Next possible support level is 142.77. However, last Friday it broke down from that particular price point, and it's just being protected right now by the 50-day moving average. The difference between, I think, BDO and Meralco is that it's still in its uptrend. It's still in this line that we projected, no, from this end of December 2022. That entire uptrend is still holding its ground. It's still also above the 100-day moving average and the 200-day moving average. So let's see over the next week if it tries to at least retrace to this uptrend and it starts to bounce back up. So possible narrative is, if it fails to go above 142, we may possibly see it do this. Let me zoom in. So it could possibly do this, then bounce right here and go all the way back here. But if this doesn't hold also, then we see it break from this. And for those who are trend followers, that's a good take profit signal also for you guys as well. So we have BDO, we have Meralco, we also have we've talked about Ayala Land. Then I want to look at another bank, BPI, which they have the earnings over the past few uh over the past few disclosures have been very, very good. That's why you can see it right here. This is a massive uptrend by BPI. A very, very strong uptrend from 49 pesos all the way to around 118, 120 pesos, which if you've rode this trend, I think you're very happy with the way you have performed since we've just seen all of this not perform, since we've seen the market sideways over the past few years. The BPI has done very, very well. Now, that being said, I want to zoom in and I want to show you also that it broke out from this resistance level, the 112 resistance. And how do you know that it's quite legit? This one blocked the market right here. It broke out for the first time. Then it retraced, but as it retraced, as a typical support level, it held its ground and it started to bounce as well. So let's see if this resistance that's currently blocking it, the 118.4 level for BPI, if it would hold its ground, if it would be broken, because right now we're seeing 20, 50, 100, and 200-day moving averages be generally bullish. And if you look at it also, the trend right here is quite distinct. No, it has been a very, very long and a very, very strong trend. And in my 17 plus years of investing, if there's one thing that I'd like to impart to you, the trend is very, very strong. It doesn't get broken quickly. And I do believe that patience is so important if you want to have longevity in terms of trading and investing the markets as a whole. So we've done two banking stocks from BPI to BDO. We've also done Meralco, which is also a utility. And then what was that? When then we did Ayala Land, which is a property stock. I'd like to go to telco. Let's look at Globe Telecoms. So for Globe, very interesting. It's retracing right now. What's very interesting about that is the 200-day moving average is somewhat very, very strong. And if you're looking at the prevailing theme, if you look at how the main narratives are, banking stocks have been performing over since COVID happened. Whereas Globe during the pandemic, during the lockdowns, they have pushed hard very well, but it has started to retrace. And if I'll zoom out even further here, it hasn't really been performing well from a price perspective. But if I'll draw this trend line here, so this is now the main trend line that it actually needs to break, and it also had a hard time breaking past the 200-day moving average. So if you would like to put some pins also on what could be the possible movement, at least for Globe Telecoms, the support is at around the 1695 level. For those who are trading this range, this is giving you about a 15% upside, or for those who took profits there, which was a legit take profit signal, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost 9 days of it failing to break out the 1941 resistance, failing to break out this downward trending slope, and failing to break out past the 200-day moving average. So if there would be continued movement downward, possible narrative for at least Globe would make it retrace back to the 1695 level. And then if you are a person who trades the range, you could possibly at least buy 1695, sell at 1941 as well. Let's go. What would be an interesting? Let's look at GT Capital. So for GT Capital, this is how it looks like. it showed a bit of movement after bouncing off the 200-day moving average, and it started to push up, but it's quite clear also that it has a resistance right now at the 549 level. It hasn't really broken off from that level, or at least it hasn't stayed above that level since March 2022, and it has been blocked over the past uh 14, 15 months or so. So I do believe that if this really forms and it tries to be like an ascending triangle, then the next possible target prices for at least GT Capital should be around 605. Then you have another one at the 668 level, at least for GT Capital. Then as of right now, it broke below the 20-day moving average, which also could form a take profit signal for those who are at least just trading for the short term. And then its failure to break out from the 552 resistance also is another form of take profit. Another thing to consider though is this one. It's crossing over the MACD, which is showing us also that there's a change in direction downward. So that's it. Links are down below if you want to know more about certain stocks. If you guys have questions for other stocks that you want me to analyze, put it down below, and I'll do my best to be able to analyze it for you during the week. So that's it for now. Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon. God bless you all.